All right, ladies and gentlemen, we want to invite you to the live podcast segment that we're doing here at San Diego Startup Week
2023.
Man.
We're over here in Carlsbad, the Arts Village.
Yes.
Everybody is outside. We're looking out at many booths, many founders, and they are all excited to be here.
Yes.
Just like us.
We're all excited to be here, and we're excited to just share the stories and learn the different journeys of different entrepreneurs, what they've created, and support like we always do.
Yes, and we have an incredible lineup of founders today.
Yes, tell them about the lineup. Tell them
We
about the
got
lineup.
the future Mrs. Fields in the house.
The future Mrs. Fields. And if y'all don't know who we talk about Maya's Cookies.
Maya's Cookies. She has a background in personal training. I'll trust any personal trainer with my sweet tooth at midnight.
Well, yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, me too. Sometimes that sweet tooth gets me in trouble, though.
We gotta lock it away. And then we also have other founders in other categories. We have On Fam. He's the founder of Earth Fan Surf Co. He's
Yep.
saving the seas. He's taking the land to the sea, saving everybody from pollution one boogie board at a time.
And as these founders come up and we start to interview them and ask them questions, we set up a mic so that we could do Q&A, and you could start your own live podcast right now, right here, just by asking them questions and anything that we may have missed in their journey. But before we get started, I think we probably should introduce ourselves.
Oh,
Who
yeah.
are we? Who are we?
You're right. We're getting too much, too far. My name is Rylie Jennings. I'm the host of Baddies Mean Business. To all the baddies out there doing incredible things, I'm here to share the stories, and I'm here with my partner in crime, Mr.
Taryell Simmons here from the podcast Rise Urban Nation. And if you want to learn more about both of our podcasts, you'll see outside that door and right here, there's some QR codes where you can scan and connect with us, follow us on whatever your favorite social media platform is. But Rise Urban Nation is all about amplifying social innovation in the Black community. So I interview everybody from artists, directors, nonprofit leaders, social innovators, entrepreneurs, because what I found in my career, I used to do a lot of workforce development work. And I would go around and use federal and state dollars to put these wonderful programs together for whether it be interns, students, entrepreneurs. But something that I saw in our young folks, especially our young folks of color, is they can't be what they can't see. So I need to highlight all of you who are doing amazing things in your prospective spaces so that more folks can see and strive to be and create social innovative ideas and problems and solve those problems, right?
100%. 100%.
Right.
We're just conduits of other people's stories, and so we're honored to be able to share them right here. So before we get started with our interviews, we'd just like to give a huge shout out to our partners and sponsors for this live podcast, Startup San Diego. They have been incredible in making this entire live podcast.
Y'all clap it up
possible.
for Startup San Diego! And let's clap it up for the amazing volunteers that volunteer their time to make this happen. Give it a round of applause for the volunteers.
They have been able to pull off an incredible feat today. There is 5 days, 5 different locations. There's one day in Mexico.
One day in Mexico? Is that true? There's a day in Mexico?
Anyways, thank you to Startup San Diego for making this entire thing possible. Just the last week and a half, they were able to accomplish so much with us and bringing founders to our stage, their stage, everybody's stage. Yes. And then also Village Up for always inspiring us to continue these stories and doing these live podcasts for the community and sharing the resources available to you.
Yeah, I must selfishly say I love Village Up because not only am I a board member, we also have somebody else who's a board member of Village Up here. Miss Kim, she's over there talking, but she can't hear me because I can't shout her name out right now. Wave your hand, wave your hand, wave your hand, Kim.
Maisha, everybody's here.
Maisha is in the house too. We might bring her up on stage too if she's not too shy at some point. We'll see. We'll see if we get her over here. But big shout out to Village Up and all the people that's involved with Village Up, helping us to represent underserved founders and bring those resources, collective resources together to help build on entrepreneurship in the San Diego community. So
beautiful. And then last but not least, Greg and Tony over here in the background. They're making this
Give it up to our
entire
engineers.
thing look good. They make
And a
us look
photography
good.
person, a videographer.
He's behind the camera over there, but all right, let's get going. Let's have our very first founder interview, Maya Madsen. Come on up. Grab
Come
the mic
on
over
up,
here.
Maya.
She looks good. She looks poised.
Thank you.
Yes. Take a seat.
I love those glasses, by the way.
I love your glasses,
Well,
by the
thank
way.
you. 9-5. I don't know if you know 9-5 over in Barrio Logan, but they got some good glasses.
Well, I'm about to get to know 9-5.
All right. I'm not sponsored by 9-5, but I will gladly be. If 9-5, if you're watching this, I would love for sponsorship.
Please tag them in the comments below. All right, Maya Madsen, she's a future Mrs. Fields. She creates gourmet vegan cookies that you can enjoy based here in San Diego. She has an incredible background. She's scrappy, she's ambitious. She has an incredible way of working with the community to make her efforts thrive. But don't hear it from me. Let's hear it from Maya. So Maya, welcome to the pod.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Perfect. Go ahead.
Well, let's kick things off by give us your founder story. How did this? Where did you come up with this idea for vegan cookies and this brainchild? Where did it start? Did it start in your mama's basement somewhere? Tell the people who may not know a little about you and how this venture started.
Absolutely. So I spent the last 30 years of my life as a personal trainer. I also spent the last 20 to 15 years of my life as a vegan. So I like to say I was your worst nightmare, a vegan personal trainer. And I eat clean and healthy, but on my cheat day, I wanted a plant-based dessert. And back in the day, there weren't any delicious Mrs. Fields style cookies, so I had to create my own. So I took a traditional recipe, veganized it, and I used that to show my clients that you can practice plant-based and still have treats. That's how it started. I was sharing them with friends and family, showing them that, yes, vegan tastes delicious. And fast forward to 2015, 2 of my 3 sons were in college at the same time, and I was faced with daunting bills. So I started baking the cookies and selling them to friends and family as a side hustle. Once I was up to about 20 dozen a week, I said, I think these cookies might have some merit.
20 dozen a week?
In my home kitchen.
They have some merit.
Right. So I entered the Del Mar Fair. And I won first and second place. I entered 2 recipes, and that gave me the confidence to turn it into business.
Give it up for that.
So once I figured out that I might have a viable business, I started to do R&D. I went around and figured out that farmers markets were the easiest point of entry for me. I took out a high-interest $3,000 credit card and maxed that sucker out
That's
to
strappy right there.
purchase my tents,
think a lot of
my
people can relate to
banners, the
that.
permits, everything I needed, and I launched at the local farmers markets. And that was in 2015. I slowly was growing year over year. I worked the markets, I baked the cookies, I was doing everything myself, and one of my sons would help me when he was home from school. And that's kind of the origin story. That's the beginnings, the roots of Maya's Cookies. There's more to that, but
I'm sure there
that's
is.
the root.
You've been Maya's Cookie started in 2015, and what I know about you, you're scrappy, and you get in there, and if there's an issue, you find a way. And so I would just love to learn about those moments throughout your journey that you're just like, I had to figure something out, and what was going through your mind in those moments as well.
Every step of the way was a scrappy moment. Number 1, taking a traditional recipe using animal proteins, changing them to plant-based proteins and getting the same result, if not better. So that was the first thing I had to figure out. I didn't know if there were scientists or people that you can help you figure that out, but I didn't have the money for it, so I figured it out on my own. Then I had to scale that recipe up over 100 times to produce the same outcome, if not better. So that was another scrappy moment. I was searching the internet to see if there's someone that could help me do that. And yes, there are people that do that, but they cost a lot of money. So I decided to be
Wait,
scrappy.
did you take out another credit card to get those people?
No. I stayed within that limit. And so that was one example of being scrappy. I don't come from a food and bev industry. I was a personal trainer. I'm a home cook. And I decided I'm also a woman in STEM because baking is chemistry and vegan baking is AP chemistry. And I like to say if you put a $sign in front of the number, I turn into Einstein. So figuring out my financials, turns out that, I'm good at math. or sort of good at math. So yeah, that was the first example of being scrappy. Also, I couldn't afford employees. So I'm a put your big girl pants on and figure it out and get shit done kind of gal. So I would personal train in the morning. After all of my classes were done around noon, I would go to my commercial kitchen, produce and bake. Then I would go to the farmer's market and work the farmer's market from 3 to 7. So that taught me production. It taught me time management, and also it taught me R&D and customer service. So that's another example of being scrappy. I was doing all of that my own. I also had a job at night working at Pottery Barn.
What?
2 nights a week, and that, I'm telling you, I'm scrappy. And what that taught me was merchandising, and that turned out to be extremely important for my product and our farmers market venture and our stores, to be honest with you. So that's another example of just being scrappy. I no longer work at Pottery Barn 2 nights a week. I no longer personal train. I am 100% founder and CEO of Maya's Cookies, because in 2020, our business exploded 6x overnight. So that's a different story.
Y'all clap it up for that. That's incredible right there. You know, I'm inspired by this for multiple reasons, because I remember we did a women's founder panel not too long ago, and we were talking about stats. You know, ever since Black Lives Matter came into play, all these institutions and VCs are talking about, we want to fund more minority business, or we want to fund more women businesses, right? And one stat I found very interesting is that I think it's out of all of the VCs that funded women's businesses the past year, there was only like 3%, something of that nature. And I'm like, man, we only got 3% and you trying? Mm-hmm. Like, what do you think, in your own personal opinion, so that VCs need to start looking at when they, or what do they need to change to really encompass more women founders and invest in more women founders so that you don't have to be so strappy all the time?
That is a layered question. So I'm going to start with the first layer. Number one, you have to go out and find those founders. You need to go into those communities where there are the founders and find them, because as a Black woman, I didn't know anything about the VC world until about 4 years ago, right? I didn't even know this world existed. And I'm sure that some of you that are part of this community find that shocking, but it's the truth, and it's my lived experience. I come from the hood. There's no VCs that I ever knew of. I had never even seen a CFO, a CEO. I didn't even know what a COO was. I didn't see those things. So number one, I think the VCs, it would be extremely helpful if you do the gritty work and go out and find us. We're out there. We just don't know where you are. So that's number one. Number two, I'm in a category that I've noticed VCs aren't particularly, I don't want to use the word excited, but in love with, and that's CPG, because there's a lot of cost involved and it's very closely dependent on the consumer. And I think that being a CPG brand is also risky, but I also have noticed that many of my fellow Black founders were in CPG, because that's what we know. We know how to create product. We know how to bring our culture to the masses with innovative food and beverage offerings and things. So that's where we are mostly in. Traditionally, and I didn't go to college, but from what I'm understanding, there's just not a lot of or there didn't used to be back in my day, I'm 54, women in STEM, Black women in STEM, Black women founders, all those things that you don't see that, or I didn't see that. So it's multi-layered, but we're out there. So maybe we're not, the top 20% of the category of the population in the VC world that's creating tech or whatever. But what I've seen in my lived experience is we know how to bring our culture to the masses in the form of CPG products. It's an easier point of entry. So I would love for the VCs out there to open up their hearts and their wallets and,
yeah,
and take a risk.
VCs, if you're out here, open up
if
your
there's
hearts
any
and your
VCs
wallets
out there, and get behind us, because I'm gritty as a mofo, and people look at me and they're shocked to find that out, because I am a mother of 3. I'm the carpool mom. but I will take my earrings off and fight somebody if I need to. I will roll my sleeves up and make those cookies. I was just washing dishes an hour before I got here. I will roll my sleeves up and help my team in any way, shape, or form. And that's what I have found in my fellow Black female founders. We are multitaskers. We are smart. We are driven. We know how to do lots of things we have superpowers that America, I think, is just now finding out about. We've known it, but I think Black Girl Magic is something that more founders are discovering.
Black Girl Magic.
Yeah. We've known about it and we've had it, but just opening up more doors would be extremely helpful. That was my long-winded, layered answer. There's more to it, but I know we're on a time crunch.
Baker and Brawler, y'all. She is here. And so as we're closing up this interview, before we start our Q&A and welcoming the audience to go ahead and jump on the mic and join the interview, what is that one piece that you want to share about your journey that other people may not know about it, but I feel like it's important for them to know?
Oh gosh, I have to one thing.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't understand what, I guess, generational wealth was and all that. And once I understood what it was, it made me even more driven. So someone like me, my roots, I started my life off in foster care, and that's part of my lived experience, and that's why I'm so gritty. So I've only known how to take care of myself and make something out of nothing and work for what I need from the get. So I come from an underserved community. I come from an underserved background. This is all I know. So all the cute pink that you see everywhere and me wearing my cute outfit and looking great, behind all this is someone who started with absolutely nothing and had to work my way. And I used to not share that because I didn't want people feeling sorry for me, but I have to share it because I realize I'm representation. And I also want people to understand why I'm so driven and gritty. They don't understand, and they look at me and, why are you so driven to make this work? Well, because I have 3 sons. And when I'm no longer walking on this earth, I want them to have something besides memories of me to create generational wealth for years to come. And also, it's just, I guess, in my DNA to be gritty.
And you work with your son, your second son, I think.
Yes, my middle son did graduate with a degree in finance. He did have to graduate summa cum laude and go work somewhere else for a year before I would hire him.
Yeah.
So I didn't just hand him that job. And yes, he is our director of finance. So it's, yeah.
It's a family business. All right, everybody, but we're going to go ahead and introduce and bring on our first question from the audience. So go ahead and introduce yourself and then go ahead and ask your question.
Hi, Maya. My name's Maisha. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
I loved your story, and I think it's really easy for people who are sitting in the audience to hear that story and think it came not easy because you just told us what it was, but that it came without you having some fear, some doubts. And I'm just wondering if you can share with us any secrets that you have for overcoming those fears so that you can keep persevering. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you. We can do hard things, period. So you have to believe in yourself and trust your gut. I work at Maya's Cookies 365 for the past 8 years, so I'm expert at what I'm doing. And it took me a little while to own that I'm the expert at Maya's Cookies. I still have a lot to learn, but I know better than anybody how to produce, whatever, the numbers, all those things. So I would say, to answer your question, just trust your gut, believe in yourself. And yes, you can do hard things. There are going to be hard things. There have been crippling things. I like to use the analogy of it's a roller coaster, which I hate. Sometimes it's a Legoland roller coaster, which is easier to ride. Sometimes it's one of those Magic Mountain style roller coasters every day where there's bombs and problems and fear and you feel like you're going to throw up. And just expect those things to happen and persevere. Surround yourself with mentors and people that know more than you that you can access.
Your network is your net worth.
Yes, your net worth is your net worth.
Beautiful.
I love that. Love that. I don't know why in my head. Has anybody ever heard that song by LL Cool J, I'm Bad? Yeah. So like I just the whole time I'm up here, I redid a re-edition of that. And you know, that's one line where you say eat Oreo Cool J cookies. So make sure y'all buy and eat Maya's vegan black magic girl cookie. She's back.
Thanks.
I'll take
Do we
it.
have one more question here? All right, we have one more
Hi,
question
Maya.
before we let you
Hi.
go.
Forgive me if you've already touched on this because I came in late. I'm the executive director for Startup San Diego. Welcome, everyone.
This is Lisa, everybody.
Give it
her a
up for
little
Lisa.
applause.
I was inspired when we spoke about how you source your ingredients. And this is someone who's walking the walk. And that's very meaningful to me. And if you've already touched on it, I have another question I can move to.
I have not touched on that.
Okay, great.
So-
that's my favorite part. Well, they're all my favorite parts. Okay, thanks.
So what she's referring to, and one of the pre-questions I was sent is how do you incorporate social, like whatever,
Social innovation. is
social
really what we
innovation
wanna
in your
focus on.
business. And here's how I do that at Maya's Cookies. I purposely try to source Black brands for our ingredients. It ain't easy and it's expensive, but I source those ingredients when I can and I pay full price. I don't call them and order ingredients and automatically ask for a discount. I pay full price. And I do that because it's important for me as my platform grows, as I'm sitting here in front of an audience of people, that I also lift those other brands up. So every year we have a Black History collection, and I try to make the Black History cookies tell stories of history that we weren't taught in school. And I know that sounds crazy, but let me just explain. So for example, it's always 3 cookies and it's always a theme. I'm already done with 2024. I won't share. You guys will have to wait. But last year's theme was the arts. So I created a cookie around Misty Copeland, and it was a champagne sugar cookie, and I found a Black-owned champagne company that I incorporated into that. And the reason why I made a cookie championing Misty is because, you know, in the arts and ballet, Danskin's just now making tights that are brown, you know, darker colors and shades. And that's important because for people to know, because it's 2023. There's, you know, we come in all colors. So that, and also Misty Copeland is kind of the face of ballet, but there are others before her, including her mentor. So I wanted to share her mentor story, right? So people buy the cookie in the collection, they read the little blurb, and then maybe they go on Google and learn more. We also had a cookie that was based on a book cover, and she's a New York Times bestseller, Brit, and she is from Oceanside. And I wanted to highlight her story because when she was at Oceanside High, her parents said that she was accused of cheating on her SATs because they couldn't believe her essay was written by her. She's a Black woman. And here she is, fast forward 20 years later, she's a New York Times bestseller, right? So there was that. And then we also had an Uncle Nearest cookie. And those of you that don't know Uncle Nearest, it's a person, Nearest Green. And he is the person that's behind Jack Daniel's brand back in the 1800s. It was a Black man that was making Jack Daniel's
favorite
whiskey.
whiskey.
Yes, and it's the most awarded whiskey in America right now. So we made a whiskey cookie, and we told the story of Uncle Nearest Green, that it's a Black man that's actually responsible for that brand, which is an iconic Americana whiskey brand. And his descendants resurrected his name and created a brand called Uncle Nearest. It's Black owned, founded, and it's, you know, tells the story. And people didn't know. They say, wow, Jack Daniels was actually formulated and created by a Black person. Yes, because those are Black history things that, you know, we weren't taught or you just don't hear about. So I use the cookies. Sorry for this long answer, everybody.
No, I
It's
love
hard
it.
to
I love it.
explain.
You spring
It's an
you
education that
tug
you
on
didn't know
all
you were
my
gonna get
heartstrings
today.
right now.
But I'm using my platform as a baker and the cookies to source ingredients for these cookies from Black brands and also tell Black stories, because when people buy cookies, it's usually celebratory and they're in a good mood. And when else to capture someone's attention when they're in a good mood, celebratory, and eating a cookie, and we have marketing materials in there that tell the story. And on top of that, I was always the young person that was on the receiving end of, you know, donations, or when I went to Catholic school, I had to get my uniform out of the lost and found bin. And I always dreamt of being on the other side where I'm the person helping the underserved and not always receiving. So for that reason, we always donate a portion of the collection to a small local or national underserved nonprofit. Underserved a nonprofit that services the underserved. And this year it was Detour Fancy, which is a organization here in San Diego. And we also worked with Black Girls Code. So.
Okay, let me tell you, I just came from an event, the San Diego Black Chamber of Commerce, and they was giving away, guess who? Maya's cookies. So she donated a whole bunch of cookies to give away at that event. So thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Another thing I want to add to the Uncle Nearest story, because that everything you said sits near dear to my heart. But let's talk about Black Girl Magic. The reason why Uncle Nearest story came to life again, because a Black woman brought it back to life, found the next of kin to say, hey, this guy taught Jack Daniels how to make whiskey, and a couple other people in that prohibition time. And then let's see if we could bring this brand back. And so give it up for Black Girl Magic, y'all.
Thank you, Maya, for joining the podcast.
Thank you.
Feel free. Go ahead and follow Maya. Where can everybody find you online?
You can find us at mayascookies.com. We ship nationwide. Those of you that own companies, we have a very robust corporate concierge cookie program where we can customize orders for you and print the details. And we also on social media, Maya's Cookies San Diego is our Instagram. We have TikTok and Facebook for those of you that are on the Facebook. What else? I think that's all of it. So thank you.
Everything. Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Maya.
Give it up for Maya. And let me tell you, I've had the cookies. They don't taste like vegan cookies, y'all. And I'm a cookie eater. I'm called Cookie Monster in my house because I will devour some cookies. I was like, you sure these vegan? I don't know if these vegan cookies, these taste like real cookies.